College Football Update with your host, Sean Spencer and Alex Loosemore.
But look, we're going to stay right here in the conference. We have to stay in the Big Ten. Obviously, like I said, we know the Ohio States, the Michigans, the Penn States, Oregon, all those big name teams. Just like we did last week, let's go and look into some of the sleepers. Who are some of that next tier teams that are potentially looking to make that jump to being maybe one of the elite teams? Anybody can go ahead and speak on this. Who are some of the sleeper teams in the Big Ten?
So I
got one.
three.
Alex, you go. You share one, then I got one.
Okay. I'm going to go with one of those teams that's normally at the top that I think could make that push into the upper tier of the Big Ten, and that's Iowa. They have a great defense every year. Ferentz, Phil Parker, that coaching staff. The big addition is their quarterback, Mark Gronowski, transferred in from South Dakota State, two-time national champion at that FCS level, MVP in the championship game both years, and he won the Walter Payton Award in 2023, which is the FCS Heisman. So this guy can ball. He's dual threat, really good arm, accurate, can run. I think he makes that offense. As long as that offense can be average, Iowa can easily be a 10-win team in the Big Ten.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You keep going. The Big Ten is yours, so you keep giving your teams.
All right, my next one is one I've brought up a couple times throughout the offseason here, Illinois. I think this is a team that could sneak into the playoffs given their schedule, the veteran makeup of their team, Brett Bielema being a really good coach, or Bielema, sorry. And this is a team, me being a former offensive lineman, this is a team with a returning group that I think could easily be top 5 in the nation on that offensive line. It's very good, very senior, junior oriented, and they've played together a long time. So I think Illinois is another team that could shock a lot of people, kind of be this year's Indiana, where you think of them, they could be like a good team, but this is a team that could sneak into the back end of the playoff. And my last one, Nebraska.
Yes.
It's year 3 under Matt Rule.
Yeah.
We've seen what he did year 3, both other schools that he did in college. It got him another job. One sent him to the pros. Obviously didn't work out that well. But year 3, Matt Rule tends to go very well for the schools he's at. Dylan Raiola going into year 2, I think we see a big jump from him, and mainly because of the offensive coordinator they brought in, Dana Holgerson. If you know college ball, you know him very well. Their offense last year was a lot of motion, a lot of intricate verbiage. It was a very difficult offense. Holgerson is a very quarterback-friendly offensive coordinator. They've got the weapons on the outside. They've got 2 very good receivers and a lot of returning players on that defense. It worries me that one of Michigan's 2 games that Sherrone Moore is suspended for is at Nebraska, because I think that's a team that could steal that game and make a lot of noise in the Big Ten, and potentially, like Illinois, be that 3rd or 4th Big Ten team in the playoff.
Yeah, I like that pick. Will, what you think, man?
Yeah, so you said Illinois is going to be this year's Indiana. I actually think Michigan is going to be this year's Indiana, where at the end of the season, they're going to have 10 wins. And so you're going to have to put them in, but you're going to look at it and go, well, who the heck did they beat?
Yep.
Like, who did they play? You know, and that's what shocked me. I mean, it is the softest of soft schedules for.
Oh, we got an easy schedule.
And you shared
that,
you know, you're talking about potentially Oklahoma. That's not, you guys are going to beat Oklahoma. That's not going to be that difficult. Nebraska, and then everything else is pretty easy until you get to your final game of the season. So yeah. I think Michigan will be that team that is outside the top 12 that gets in because of the strength of schedule. And I agree with you. My team, I was gonna share when I was like, I was so eager, like I got one, is Nebraska. Looking at their schedule, I think they are going to. I don't know if I'm going to say 10 wins for Nebraska. That may be a stretch. But I can easily see 8 wins because the toughest games they have is I don't know Nebraska versus Southern Cal, how that matchup
It's a really
is.
interesting matchup.
Yeah, and likely they'll probably lose to you. They'll probably lose to Penn State. So there's an easy chance for them to get 8-9 wins, provided they have to beat the Michigan State type games.
Mm-hmm.
They have to beat Iowa. And if they do that, Nebraska would be able to jump up and get 8 to 9 wins.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, if you look at it for Nebraska, if they do say go 10-2 and their only losses are Michigan and Penn State, and say Michigan's at 9, 10, 11 wins, and Penn State is going to be very good this year, that makes a strong argument for Nebraska to kind of slip into the back end of that playoff there.
Yeah. Well, and the reason why I use the analogy that, the Big Ten lifts shoulders every single day and forgets leg day is Michigan's got an easy schedule. You can see them win 10 games. Penn State has to play Oregon and Ohio State, and that's it. They can win 10 games. Ohio State has a much tougher schedule with Texas, Illinois, Penn State, and Michigan, but they can easily win a bunch of those games. I mean, they're Ohio State. Illinois has easy, like they're probably going to win 10 games. They have an easy schedule with Indiana, Southern Cal, and Ohio State being their only real tests. Oregon has Penn State, Southern Cal, who knows, the West Coast right there, and maybe Indiana. Oregon's probably going to win 10 games. The one is you're looking at Southern Cal. They have to go play Illinois, Michigan, Notre Dame, Nebraska, and Oregon. They got robbed when looking at Michigan's schedule, and then Southern Cal's like, this is not equal.
Now, the one thing I will say with the Big Ten where I disagree with you that it's so top-heavy, I don't actually think there's that big a gap between, say, the 4th team in the Big Ten and the 10th team in the Big Ten. I'd say Penn State, Ohio State, and Oregon are probably your top 3 still. But then I think you've got Michigan in there, Illinois, Nebraska. Washington will be a much better team this year under year 2 of Jed Fish. USC, you just watch out for it. USC, Iowa. Like, there's so many teams in that 4 through 10, 11, 12 that are very similar, and they're all really good teams that are going to go under the radar. Like I had a hard time limiting my sleepers to just 3.
Right. But then you get to play team number 13, 14, 15, and 16. And you get to play Purdue, and you're like, hey, let's put in the scrubs. Put in the scrubs by the first quarter. We got it.
We had teams like that in the SEC last week too. Don't forget that.
Nope. I don't see it.
Don't forget that.
I'll give you Mississippi State. You're right. Mississippi State.
There's a couple.
Missouri's going to be a top 25 team.
Oh, I was talking there. Yeah, because of their schedule.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as the last 3 years with Missouri. They look really good. They play a good team. They get waxed.
Yeah.
Very true. What are your thoughts on UCLA? Deshaun Foster's second year. Obviously, they struggled last year, but now getting Nico Iamaleava. You think they could potentially turn around?
I just don't know that there's enough there around Nico. Nico's a good enough quarterback that he gives them a shot in a lot of games, but I don't know that there's enough on either side of the ball to, like, I could see, I'm thinking 6 to 8 wins really for UCLA.
I can see that. EK, you got anything to say on this Big Ten sleepers?
Man, what do I not have something to say? Yeah, I'm gonna say, if we're talking about a sleeper that gets into the upper echelon, I don't have a single one. Now, a tier 2, then yes, I don't consider Michigan a sleeper, or a little different than Will. I don't consider them like an Indiana kind of jump, because I don't think they fell that far off, and I think they play Indiana again a couple weeks later, and it's a completely different,
I mean, we lost them by like 1 score without Will Johnson, without Colston Loveland,
and that's what I'm getting at. I think it's a completely different. It's a completely different outcome. But I get Will's point, 100%. I disagree with Alex from the standpoint of I don't think 4 through 10. I think 5 through 10. I don't necessarily see Michigan being out of that top 4. I think they're right in the mix of it, depending on what happens with the quarterback.
Agreed.
I love the Nebraska calls to make it into that second tier. Matt Rule, I mean, at Temple, he did a good job at Baylor. Like the teams just are fundamentally sound. They got Rayola, so high upside. Iowa substantially improved on offense last year once they got rid of Baby Ferentz as the OC.
Yeah.
But here's, I guess, since I don't really have one to throw at you, I think USC could be really good. I don't think that they're going to win enough games to look good. So they could be one of those teams, kind of like we talked about with some SEC teams last week, that they their schedule is just tough enough where they're a better team than maybe it reflects. Now, here's where I'm going to get wild. Will Kramer. I looked at these schedules tonight, and I looked at the Big Ten this year, and I didn't think I'd say this, but this year in particular, I don't always agree most years. I absolutely agree with you. Like last week, we named team after team that I was like, "Ooh, that's a hard schedule."
Yep.
Oh, that's a hard schedule. Oh, that's a hard schedule. And I went through just like it looks like you did before we started tonight, and I started looking at every team, and I'm like, well, they can all win 10 games. So
There was
with that,
one I saw. It was
Go
a
ahead.
Washington Post, and they had a scenario where it was, I think it was like 8, 9, or 10 teams tied at 10-2, just based on all the top teams really only having to play like 1 or 2 of those other top 10 teams, and then getting the bottom of the barrel in the conference.
Yeah. Well,
So
here's
you're absolutely right.
here's my counter to you then, because this is what was striking me as I was looking through them. I think it's gonna be really hard to get a 4th team in with those schedules.
I can see
Like,
that.
I know you're saying 3, 4. That's, I mean, Illinois, if they don't beat Ohio State, what else do they have to like validate that they're a top 12 team?
What did Indiana have?
To do
Yeah.
4.
Well, I agree. What did Indiana have? But this is worse than last year. Oregon lost so much. Ohio State lost so much. We don't know what Michigan is. The only team that we know should be good, we're going to accept that Ohio State is just because they're Ohio State.
Yeah.
They should reload. The only team we know should be really good is Penn State.
Yep. The scenario to get 4 in would have to be Ohio State. Their only loss in the conference in the regular season would be either Penn State or Michigan. In this scenario, I would say they probably lose to us just because the last few years they've always found a way to lose to us. But beat Penn State in the regular season. The game against Texas, you could go either way. I think Texas beats them. So Ohio State, 2 loss potentially there. Penn State would pretty much only be able to lose 1 in the regular season and would have to probably be the Big Ten champion at that point. So we'll say Penn State beats, say, Ohio State in the Big Ten title game. That's Ohio State's 2nd loss in conference, 3rd loss overall. They would be that kind of 10-12 in that scenario there, probably pushed in on the fact that it's Ohio State. Michigan would probably only be able to lose 1, maybe 2 games if one of those losses in Ohio State, and they would be pushed in, and Oregon would pretty much only be able to lose to Penn State.
Yeah.
That would be your scenario for 4. The big brands all with 1, 2, max 3 losses. I think a 3-loss Ohio State could get in if 2 of those losses are Penn State and Texas and they're close.
Yeah, well, absolutely. It's just a matter of, at some point your schedule is going to look weak after people feast
Yes.
on each other. So
the other thing is you have to dominate those other games. You have to.
100%. So I'm going to be honest, from the preseason view, I'm going to be inclined to appreciate that 8 or 9 win Florida more than I am the 11-1 Ohio State. Or Ohio State, sorry, Illinois.
No, I'm right there with you.
So that's fascinating to me. Also, shout out to Wisconsin playing Bama, Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, and Illinois.
Yep.
That's another team I could see being much better than they have been, but their record might not reflect it.
And that
You
goes
see,
back off.
but you can't say shout out to Wisconsin because they're sitting here. The Badger fans are going, "What in the heck did we do to deserve this?" Just like you said, then you could look at like Indiana. I miss them. They're going to win. Cignetti's going to win another 8 games minimum based on who he gets to play, with potentially losing to Penn State and Oregon, Iowa, and Illinois. So he's going to have another good season. And then you got Wisconsin right there, who, just like you mentioned it, Eric, Alabama, Michigan, Iowa, who they always struggle against Iowa. And every Badger fan is going to tell you that. Ohio State, Oregon, Indiana, Illinois. Fickle may be done with this schedule.
And they might be one of the best 6-7 win teams in the nation, but because they're a 6-7 win team as Wisconsin, he might get axed.
Yeah.
Hopefully they show improvement and they can kind of dictate on that. But Alex, I'm not trying to throw your Big Ten under the bus as a whole. I mean, there's a lot of proud teams, like schools, that are in here, but there's so many that are down. We think Illinois is going to be good. I've also watched a lot of Brett Bielema in my life. And that means absolutely nothing thinking they'll be good ahead of time. But I think they should be. Indiana,
there's a lot of should be.
Yeah, Indiana, they could be an 8-10 win team, but they could also take a step back. Iowa, we expect to jump forward. They haven't been there recently. Maryland is kind of up on the uptick, but they're not there. Michigan State,
lost a lot this offseason too.
Yeah, Michigan State way down where they typically are. Minnesota hasn't been as good as they were a couple years ago. Nebraska looks like it's going to rise, but they've looked like that with their past 3 coaches before they don't.
Yeah.
You could just go on and on. I mean, Northwestern is substantially worse after they lost Fitzgerald.
Now a lot of that was they essentially death penaltied themselves.
It was, but just the point being that it used to be a respectable team to have to go in and fight. So it's nothing. And then USC, what the heck are they
And USC is one of those ones. It's a typical Lincoln Riley team. Like you look last year, they went in and played a really good LSU team and beat them week 1. And then it was week 3 or whatever it was, they couldn't handle our run game and we beat them. And then they're so up and down. And he either seems to have the team and not the quarterback, or the quarterback and not the team at USC. He hasn't had both at the same time. So USC is such an interesting one to look at because it's is Jaden Maiava the guy? Because they have a really talented team around him. It's just, can Maiava turn that, 4-1, 3-1 stretch he had when he was the starter to finish the season into a really good season this year?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
A lot of question marks across the board. You are absolutely right.
And then Washington.
I'll tell you this.
They were great 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Will. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, the Big Ten by far has the best set of coaches in college football. We probably could name 14 of the 16 coaches are solid. I forgot you were talking about Washington and I'm poo-pooing it. I'm and then you were Jed Fish is going to turn around. I'm oh yeah, shoot. That's his second year there. Greg Schiano is the only guy who's won at Rutgers, You know, even Michigan State, where he hasn't gotten it going, but he showed he could do it in Oregon State. It's like you got to give him some
Smith,
time.
yeah.
Right.
It's really just like you said, EK. It's Northwestern. I have no idea who's running them, and it's such a drastic change from a couple of years ago. And UCLA, what are they doing? You know, with that hire, but the rest of them make sense for the schools. I would even say, if anything, Loxley's a terrible in-game coach, but he's the only guy who can recruit those players out of DC that he gets.
Mhm.
I think for me, the reason why I'm not excited about the Big Ten is the 3 teams that I like to watch are all going to be terrible this year, and so there's nothing to be excited about. You know, my in-laws are thrilled that they're no longer season ticket holders for the Badgers, because the Fickle era has been awful, you know, and I don't see anything with their roster changing. As much as Billy Football is going to be a better fit for him, he's not Desmond Ridder, and he's not going to turn into that type of guy. And, you know, and with their schedule, it's going to be tough. And like you said, EK, I mean, Will Kramer is a better program builder than PJ Fleck is at the University of Minnesota, and I don't understand why
row the boat.
those talents
Yeah,
they
just
can't,
row the boat, right.
transit. You know, and Fleck came in, like you said, and was so hot at one point, and then but that's
Because what he did with Western Michigan was insane, and then
I just think that's Minnesota. I think it's a really hard place, you know. And same thing with the shirt I'm wearing right here. Like, Malik Washington's going to be an exciting quarterback to watch this year.
Mm-hmm.
But Maryland has a tough schedule, and if they don't beat the likes of Rutgers and Michigan State, they may not make a bowl game. Like, they have to win some of those marginal win games. It's depressing for me as a fan. I'm like, this year sucks. I'm just going to watch South Carolina.
To throw in on just to add in onto your coaches, because you're absolutely right. Even the Purdue Boilermakers, who you really love, made a hire of a coach that's pretty well respected in football as a whole this past year with Barry Odom.
Mm-hmm.
So he's pretty well.
From?
So he spent a lot of time at Missouri as like DC, and then he was at UNLV last, I believe. So even that ragtag program has gotten an upgraded coach there.
Yeah.